This is a Squier Classic Vibe 50s Stratocaster in a 2-color Sunburst. Looks amazing, but how does it sound and how does it play? Let's find out. Hey, I'm Landon. This is Lando27 Music. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, click like if you do like this video. So as I mentioned, this is a Squier Classic Vibe 50s Strat. I bought it out of pocket myself, so I'm going to do a full review, full walkthrough, a full deep dive. We're going to go through this whole guitar. We're going to pull out the guts. We're going to do everything. So this is a 2019 model. It's crafted in Indonesia. So we're going to go through this guitar. And like in many other videos, this video is going to be broken up into a bunch of sections. So take a look at the timestamps. They'll appear on screen and they'll be in the description and in the comments. So you can move around, get to the section you want to see, and then jump around the video. I do these timestamps to make it easier for people to navigate through a video. So we'll break this video up into a few parts. The first part, I'll just go over the guitar. I'll do a quick once over, talk about the guitar and the specs quickly. Then we'll go into more of a deep dive where we'll actually rip open the guitar, look at the guts, take the weight, check out the pickups, do a bunch of stuff. Basically describe the guitar in full detail and you'll see all the specs. If you ever want to see the specs, you can take a look. I always include the official site to Squier and Fender. Once I'm done with the deep dive of the guitar, we'll get into some tones. And so I'll play the guitar on its own through an AC-15. We'll mic that up. And we'll play some clean, we'll play some dirty tones. And then I'll also have the guitar playing against musical backing tracks so you can hear it in a mix. And we'll go through all the different pickup combinations so you can hear how they all sound. And then finally, stay to the end of the video. I'll have a summary, a wrap up, what I think of this guitar, all the pros and cons. I'll give my full feedback, my unbiased opinion on this guitar. Because this isn't a sponsored video, I really think you can trust my opinion. If there's anything I don't like about this guitar or that I love about it, I'll let you know. So like I mentioned, let's just do the quick rundown of the guitar. Like I said, so this is the Classic Vibe 50s series from Squier. They're trying to get like a 50s feeling. They're trying to use 50s specs. Let's just go down the guitar quickly here. Got a maple neck, maple fretboard. Seen the close-ups, appears to be a one-piece neck. Got vintage style tuners. Going on down the neck, it's got like a glossy finish on both sides. 3 single coil pickups. 5-way selector. Something a little bit different on this one, you can control the tone on the bridge, which I don't believe was an original spec in the early Strats. Got a vintage style trem system here, and like I mentioned, this is in I say 2-tone Sunburst, they call it a 2-color Sunburst, same thing. It's kind of like a brown, black to brown sort of color. So, all right, that's a quick once over. Let's get into this guitar, let's open it up, and we'll get into all the detailed specs. All right, to get things started, let's take it and weigh it on a scale to see where it sits in terms of how heavy it is. So it's 3.754 kilograms, works out to 8.276 pounds. Next, we'll do a quick measurement of the resistance of the pickups. So you just take a guitar cable, plug it in, turn up the volume, select the pickup, and I'm using a multimeter here, or multimeter. Doesn't matter how you say it. All right, so for the neck pickup, 5.61 kilo ohms. And I'm going to measure the in-between, which doesn't really matter, but so there's neck and middle, 2.93. I don't know if that's an accurate measurement. Middle pickup, 5.95, and that was the middle and bridge. And then the bridge is the highest, 6.49, which is pretty common. And then back to the neck, just to give a comparison, 5.61. So there we go. All right, we'll get into all the specs in a moment, but first thing I like to do is take the guitar and open it up. So in this case, you just take the strings off, and you can do that quickly. Fast forwarding here a little bit, but you need to get them off in order to get the pick guard off. Taking the screws off here, and then when you do this, just be careful when you're lifting up the first time. You don't know exactly where the wiring is and if it's catching on something. You don't want to rip a soldering point. So here we go, flipping it over and having a look. And you can see from here, it looks like a fairly clean job. 3 single coil pickups, you got the 3 pots and the selector switch. A little bit closer up here, zoomed in. It's a proper selector switch. I was expecting a PCB switch, but you can really feel the difference. And these are mini pots, and that's where they probably have a little bit of savings in terms of money. They're not the standard size pots. And you got 3 single coil pickups. If you can recognize what those numbers mean, I'm guessing that's the name of the pickup. I don't know what they are, but let me know in the comments if you recognize them and what they refer to. And then taking a look inside the cavity here, no shielding paint, which I was surprised. You got a ground wire going in there, and yeah, no shielding paint at all, which surprised me because in my Classic Vibe Telly, it was loaded with shield paint. And here, before I close up the guitar, or before I put the screws back into the pickguard, I always like to test the pickups just to make sure I didn't pull something and break something. And now opening up the jack here, you can see inside. Just a very simple connection, and closing that back up. Overall, pretty nice inside, nice and clean. And I've mentioned this before in other videos. This is why I love the vintage style tuners. The string keeps its shape, and then you can just pop it back on. And it's pretty much as quick as having locking tuners. So, all right, taking open the back cavity, flipped over the guitar, taking a look at the back here. Got 3 springs. Right now, the guitar was set up basically with, I guess you could say, a locked trem block. It's flush to the body, and there's hardly any movement. And to me, that's what I like. I'm not a big fan of trem, and I'm just going to keep it as is. All right, let's go over all the specs, and let me know if I missed anything. But we've got a pine body here. This is a gloss polyurethane finish on the body. The neck is maple. From what I can tell, it's a single piece, and it's got a tinted gloss. You can see close up here on the headstock, the vintage tuners, and it's got a plastic nut. The neck is a C shape. It's a thin C shape, which I like. 25.5-inch radius. Scale length 9.5-inch radius. 21 narrow tall frets. They list the nut as bone, but it's not bone. I'm pretty sure it's plastic. And you can see here a little close up of the pickups. They've given them like a vintage tint, like an aged white kind of thing, which looks really cool, I think, on the white single ply pickguard. You've got your 6-point trem, and it's got the trying to zoom in here on the Squier name. They've actually stamped it on the bent saddles, and yeah, I think that's a nice touch. As I mentioned, you can see the single ply pickguard here, and 5-way selector and tone controls. There is a tone on the bridge pickup, and I'll try to remember to demo that in the sound. And just going through some more close-ups here. The input jack, and just some close-ups of the body. Really nice finish. I didn't find any flaws on the body. You can see the pine wood. It's got an interesting kind of grain. Nothing special. The pickups are Fender designed Alnico single coil, and yeah. And here's some more close-ups of the neck. You can see there, definitely a single piece. There's no top on the fretboard. It's all one piece. You can tell by the grain. Just wanted to get some close-ups here of the fretwork. Just some more close-ups of the fretwork. Here's a close-up of the nut. Like I mentioned, it was plastic. And on the back here, you got the vintage style tuners that are nickel-plated hardware. And you can see here, crafted in Indonesia, 2019 model. You can really see the gloss on the back of the neck there. And I really like the Squier neck plate. That's pretty cool. They stamped that on there. And then just taking another quick look at the grain in the pine body. Like I mentioned, it's nothing special, but it looks okay. It looks all right in the Sunburst. So there we go. There's all the specs. All right, this is the part of the video. It's going to be my summary, and it's going to include my pros and cons of the guitar. So we'll start with the pros, and I'm going to start with something that I don't usually talk about, but you saw it in the intro when I was unboxing the guitar. This is now my second classic vibe guitar from Squier, and I've got to say the packaging that they've put in with these guitars is the best packaging I've ever seen on a guitar. It's better than the Player series. Obviously, you can't compare it to a higher end guitar that comes with a case because that's not the same thing. But if we take a look closely, they've taken cardboard and they've made sure that each section of the guitar is protected. So that's usually not something I would comment on, but I thought it was worth noting that if you were shipping one of these, they'll probably be pretty safe in the standard packaging. All right, getting to the guitar now. That was just my rambling about packaging. First thing, you saw it close up. What you saw is how it looks. It looks amazing. They've done the fit and finish is really nice on it. Out of the box, the setup was perfect, which I don't usually expect. That's not something, and it wasn't set up for me. I got it brand new. You saw the opening there. I bought it brand new. It didn't have a setup done to it. And that's a personal taste thing, right? Like maybe the action isn't what other people would like, but I thought it was great. So the nickel hardware feels good, looks good. The pickup selector switch, I noticed that right off the bat. That's one of the first things I noticed, how solid it was. So I was suspecting it wasn't a PCB selector switch like I have in my 50s Telly. And so it's interesting. I find it kind of funny that looks like they put more money into the selector switch, which is good, and then maybe less money into the pots. They're the mini pots. I think they're alpha. I couldn't really actually see the name, but if you know what those pots are, let me know. Yeah, so overall the hardware, really impressed with that. I like this vintage style color that they put on the plastic on the pickups here. Yeah, so hardware, really, really nice. When it comes to the sounds, you heard it. I think the tones are really great. I wouldn't want to upgrade the pickups in this. There's no need to. Okay, that's good for the pros. A few cons, nothing that's a deal breaker to me. Seems like this is standard with the most of the classic vibe guitars. This super glossy vintage style kind of neck. If your hands are sweaty, if it's humid, you're gonna get some stick. You're definitely not gonna have it's already, I can feel it right there. It's not a fast playing guitar neck if you have a lot of moisture. There's ways to get around that. You can sand it down, or if that doesn't bug you, maybe that's not an issue for you. If it is, then that's a con. If it's not a big deal, then hey, don't worry about it. This one in particular, it's bordering on being almost heavy. It's just over 8 pounds. I think that's probably as high as I'd want to go. If I can find a picture of it, I'll bring it up. Sweetwater always lists their body weights of the different models. Sometimes they have 4 at a time, and hopefully I can show you how this can vary. It's a pine body. They can really fluctuate in their weight. The last thing, and maybe this isn't a con, I don't think it really has any effect in this case. There was no shielding paint in the cavity on this at all. It's the opposite of what I saw in the classic vibe Telly. I don't think in this case it really affected anything. So, okay, so that's my pros and cons, but I want to hear from you. What did you think about this guitar? Obviously you couldn't pick it up and feel it, but you could hear it and you could see it. So there we go. The Squier Classic Vibe 50s Strat in two-tone Sunburst. Another great guitar from Squier. I think they're awesome. I think they might be the best value. It's not officially a Fender guitar, even though, does it Fender? Yeah, it says by Fender. So the word Fender is on the neck a couple times. If you want to argue that this isn't a Fender, Fender owns them, right? So, hey, I don't really care. Doesn't matter to me. If I left anything out, if there's any specs I skipped over or didn't spend enough time on, I'm always for feedback. Let me know if I missed something. I always try to get back to the comments. If you have any questions about the guitar, if you want to know about where I bought it, you want to know about the prices, I'm in Canada. I picked it up at a local shop, so the price in Canada was like $500, $449 I think, plus tax. I think they go for around $399 in the US. Your mileage may vary. That's sometimes why I don't include prices in my videos, because depending on what part of the world you're in, what country you're in, what currency you use, it's always different. So yeah, you can always check out Fender's official site on this guitar if I missed anything. So, all right, that's gonna do it for this video. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Please click the like button, turn on the notifications. Again, I'm Landon, this is Lando27 Music. As always, play guitar and have fun, and we'll see you again in another video. Take care. Which was loaded with peel chaint. It was loaded with peel chaint. I just invented new words. I'm gonna say peeled chain from now on. It was, the telly was loaded with shield paint.